All right, YouTube says we are live, so welcome back to Grizzly Bear Sims YouTube channel, and welcome back to another live stream event, another episode of our Old Guy Farms single player challenge here on the wonderful Goldcrest Valley edit map by Old Guy Farmer, Mr. Jerry Ott. This is what episode is this? Come on, bring my spreadsheet up here. My apologies. This is episode number 31. 37 hours into this challenge, $1.2 million, and we're going to do some things to make a little bit of money today. So get right back into the action. We don't need to change our mods up any. And Farmer Klein says, boo, so welcome to the stream. This is my third live stream for today, and probably will be the last for today. I am back to work tomorrow, and the wife is doing well enough. She's actually remarkably doing well this afternoon. I think she is getting a bit tired, and I think she admitted that she had tried to wean herself off or basically not take much of the pain medication, but I think she has made or decided to go back on that. But no, she's doing really well. She was actually reading a book and sitting outside for just a little bit. And so, but it was getting a bit warm. And because their surgery that she had was basically sinus surgery, and she gets warm, she's having some problems breathing. So anyway, she's back inside, and I think she's going to take a little nap, and then I'm going to do this live stream and then most likely go to the grocery store and get a few things. And like I said, tomorrow I'm back in the office. Back to work, back to the grind, as they say. Lazy Husky, welcome back to the stream. Thanks for coming in. I remember your name from earlier, the earlier stream. So yeah, this is episode number 31, and we made pretty good progress yesterday. We did a couple of different things. We are going to take a look and see what missions might be available for our field down there that we did a mission on episode number 30. I sort of have my eye on that field that we may actually buy that before harvest. I'm hoping that he puts something on that we can harvest with either with the grain header. Let's take a look at our animals right quick and see if we need to do anything with food, and we probably do. Yep, we do. So let's go ahead and do that. And I also believe that today is also the day that we need to stock up our greenhouses, and we do that, try to do that about every other day. So where did we leave our, right there, we left our bell forks right over here. So yesterday, or during the previous game day, I should say, it was just about 30 minutes or so that I wrapped up that stream, and we basically found over half of our gold nuggets. So I think we've got like 52 or something in our basket, or whatever you want to maybe call that. So we'll look for some more gold nuggets when time permits. Again, I'm not needing them for anything. I just need to make sure that we find them all before the end of really next fall, the third year, because obviously we don't want to have to take the chance of taking along a snow shovel to dig out the gold nuggets if we get snow at the same magnitude that we've had snow this last winter. And unfortunately, that's what I'm planning for. And I know that I've mentioned this a few times. I'm sure that Farmer Klein and some of the others are also bracing themselves for the potential of, big snow event and everything as well, just because they saw what sort of an impact we had on our farm and how difficult it was to basically drive around, maneuver, and all that kind of stuff. So. Fields are all coming up there. By the way, it's the first day of summer, so happy summer to all of you. Of course, it's the first day of summer here on our virtual farm. It's not really the first day of summer in the real world. and thank God for that, because it's been quite warm here in Colorado, in Denver, and we've had some forest fires and stuff like that that has plagued some of the mountain high country areas, and so we'll all be looking forward to fall and the rain and the snow and the cooler temperatures and stuff like that to try to help mitigate some of that forest fire danger. I guess I'm pretty much used to glance now. Didn't use glance for a while because I was using the other one, because it came out first, and I think it was the one that I was using in Farm Sim 15 as well. But started using glance on this map because I wanted to make sure that I would be sort of in the know if my greenhouses were getting low or something like that needed to be addressed. And so yeah, so it looks like glance is probably going to be my go-to kind of you know, information HUD. Did I figure it out? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I've really, no, I don't think I've figured it out necessarily. I've just left it at level 3, and it will alert me. It'll show up there if they do get low. I think at around 10% or something it will show. I do remember that from one previous game day. Oops, don't do that. But no, as far as getting it to show up there full time, I guess I probably don't need it to do that. Let's see where we are on water. I think we might have done water. Let's see. Water fill level 64%. We can skip water for now. Let's see, do we need to, we can water, yeah, we can go ahead and water. We need to water our sheep. I don't want our sheep to lose productivity. It's best to go ahead and invest the time and do it now than it would be to run the risk of our sheep dropping productivity. Let's go ahead and park this guy where we will know where we can find him come this afternoon, because we'll need to clean up after our sheep again. So appreciate everybody for hanging out for another live stream here. This is the third live stream for this game day, or for this day, I'm sorry, for Tuesday, the 1st of August. I think this is the most live streams that I've done in one day on this series, I think, to date. I've done 2 before, back-to-back. Usually on Saturday mornings I will do 2 back-to-back live streams. But I am off from work today, yesterday, and today. That's a great thing about my company, is that we basically get time if we need to take time for to care for a family member, as long as they're an immediate family member. We have that benefit of doing that, and it's basically the same as sick time. Not a lot of companies do that, but I'm really thankful that mine does, because it certainly helps if, you know, my wife is sick, because it's just her and I here. We don't have any other family here in Denver. So if she's sick, then I can basically either work from home. I have that luxury as well, but I sort of figured that I would have a little bit more going on with her, and I sort of thought, well, if she's napping and everything, I would just go ahead and do a live stream or 2, and instead of trying to work and worry about, you know, missing something or whatever because I was playing a game. Anyway, it's a good benefit it's a real good benefit. You know, sometimes when you factor in all the things that make up a good job, obviously um, security, you know, things like that, knowing that, you know, I'm working for a company that, wow, they need a lot of water. All right. Knowing that I'm working for a company that hopefully will be around, we're going to go ahead and refill our water, and then we'll water the greenhouses as well. But knowing that I'm working for a company that hopefully will be around in the coming years, that's also a good thing. But also just some of these other little benefits, like, you know, being able to stay at home and take care of my wife if I need to for a few days. That's a good benefit. So this is a single player challenge. For those of you that regularly visit my live streams, you've heard this now 31 times. But for those that might be out there lurking that have never seen one of my live streams or haven't heard what the whole live stream thing is about with this challenge, it is a challenge map that myself and about 6 or so others are participating in. The mastermind behind the challenge is Old Guy Farmer, so we're calling it the Old Guy Farmer Single Player Challenge. And the whole sort of gist of the challenge is we play this map. We're all playing the same map. We all have a set of guidelines or rules that we need to follow, but outside of that, we can do traditional farming if we want to, or we can do just logging, or we can do just silage work if we want to. Can't do the BGA process, but we can do silage. Farmer Klein is doing silage. That's how he's making his living, his virtual living, that is. And so I'm doing sort of a combination of traditional farming as well as logging. And so we are going to get to doing some logging here this afternoon or this morning as soon as we finish with these chores here. All right, good, good, good. So our greenhouses are topped up, our animals are topped up, and we can now drive back to the main farm, dump this tractor off. We'll grab our Mack truck and our timber trailer and drive over to where our Scorpion King is. All of our fields are planted. All of our fields are fertilized up to stage 3 level fertilization, with the exception of perhaps the 2 soybean fields. But I don't think we could fertilize those today anyway if we needed to, so we will just kind of wait on those for now. Let's just go ahead and check field status though while we're here and take a look at that right there, right there. So yeah, field number 24 is fully topped up. We do need to do field number 19, and we'll do that at another time. All right, so we need to get in our Mack truck, and I'll tell you what we will do before we do that is let's drive down and see if this farmer has any work for us to do that we could do in relatively short fashion, because we can do 1 mission per day if we want to. We don't have to, but if we want to. I've not been aggressive at doing missions, I won't lie. We made it, just barely made it. Wow, we just barely made it. I probably should have stopped, but oh well. All right, so this is the field that we're kind of interested in purchasing, and we might purchase it if the price is right, and we might purchase it after we get everything done. So he's got a little fertilization job for us, $594. We're not going to get rich on this, but again, it will kind of drive the price of the field down a little bit. The other cool thing is it does slow the time down. Now, of course, we don't have a hired worker working and doing anything right now, so we're not really taking full advantage of the mission, but we did yesterday. We basically had a hired worker that was out sowing one of our fields, and so we basically took advantage of that, and So we'll slide this over. We will use GPS because this will kind of help us keep an eye on chat. And off we go. What did they end up planting in that field too? Is that soy? Not sure what this is. Wadester, welcome to the stream, buddy. Thanks for stopping by, and hello back to you. Not sure. This might be soy. Does it look like that other field? Well, can't see that other field. It hasn't come in yet. Maybe this will be soy. That'll be cool if it is, because then our 3 bottom fields down here would be all soy, and we can just have our harvester harvest these while we're harvesting the other one across the street. Yeah, I need to tab into those trains. Those things are going to run off the rails if we're not careful. Too bad the trains don't have the same problem with taking turns and everything fast like we do, because that'd be quite interesting. Of course, that would cause some problems if the train came off the tracks right there, because it would wipe our field out, wipe us out. And fields or I'm sorry, not fields, but missions are also a great way of, you know, basically doing the work that needs to be done. Now, of course, we didn't get a plowing mission on this field. So if we do buy it, obviously we would buy it with the understanding of knowing that this is not going to be as high of yield as we would get had we plowed it. But if we do buy the field right before we harvest it, or right before it becomes able to harvest, then obviously we'll plow the field either in the fall after the harvest is done, or we can do the plowing next spring. Most likely we'll do it in the fall, because in that way, if we do it in the fall, then we can also go ahead and sell our plow this year and not pay any maintenance on it, even though I don't think the maintenance would break us necessarily. But we could at least go ahead and do that, because I would think that if we add this field, I would think that would be enough for year 3 as far as field work is concerned. That would give us 1, 2, 3, 6 fields, I believe. Okay, $594. Again, it's not going to, we're not going to make a whole lot of money, but you know, it could just come right down to the fact that what separates myself and Farmer Klein could be $594. And how bad would we feel if, actually, let's just, for grins and giggles, see what is on that field. 23, canola. Okay, so that's cool. So that means our 6 fields that we own, we basically will harvest everything with the same header, the grain header. We won't have to rent or lease a corn header for corn or soybean or sunflower is what I meant to say. All right, let's go do some logging. It's 8:15 in the morning. Love these longer days. Absolutely, absolutely love these longer days. And these are the logs that we cut on the, I think in the last game day of the year, I think was the last time we did any serious logging. No, we were doing logging in early spring, up to 3 game days in spring, I think. Jay Simpson says, hi Jay, how are you? All right, we'll go out back this way here. Actually, let me do this out of cab so I make sure that I miss these fields. I do not want to run through my crops. We are running the crop destruction mod, and I don't want to run the risk of, let me pull up my weather forecast here so we can start looking at that. So we do have 3 good days of sunshine, then we've got some rain followed by 2 days of sunshine and a fall forecast of the first day with rain. Boy, I tell you what, I hope that's not a repeat of last season. We had a wet fall, and we also had a relatively wet obviously a snowy winter is what I meant to say. All right, so I'm kind of thinking, I was in two minds as to kind of what to do and how to do it and everything with regards to where we would start doing forestry. And we're definitely going to do things that we can't do in the wintertime. We're not going to cut trees down here in this flat area because we need to save this for in the event that we get snow, or if we get lots of snow. 10 days, okay. So, but what we are going to do is we're going to still be in this area, but we're going to work up in this area here, taking these trees out, because clearly we can't do that if we have 5 layers of snow in the ground. But also we're not going to be wasting time pulling tree, or wasting time driving the Ponzi very, very slowly. I mean, I've got the foot to the pedal. I've got the pedal to the metal here. We won't be wasting time driving it up to another area. So we're going to just kind of stay working this area here. I tell you what, we'll just bring these logs over here and cut them. Kind of try to stack them kind of nice and neat. Here we may block traffic for a little while, but that's okay. So logging is sort of our deal. It wasn't how I started the challenge. I really did not think that I would be doing logging as much as I have been doing. It was sort of, I decided that I would do some logging because I wanted to be able to expand our 3 main fields, which obviously we did that. We did that in at the end of the harvest of year 1. We took our 3 fields and we added a few extra, a little bit of space on each side, whatever made sense to do. And that worked out well for us because it hopefully will give us a little bit of yield. Plus we were able to sell the trees and everything. So I was really just kind of thinking, okay, well, I would just sort of cover the costs of being able to, you know, buy the Ponzi and everything and run it and make a few $100,000 maybe on it. But I had no idea that we would be cutting down as many trees as we've cut down. And I'll just show you right quick how many trees we have cut down since we've done this challenge. 807 trees. So, but the bottom line is the money is very, very good in logging. When we can do it and our days are long and our days are relatively dry and we can climb up hills like this and that sort of stuff, we can make around anywhere from $90,000 to $100,000 in that span of time. And that's pretty good. And if we can do that, now we missed our goal. I sort of set a goal for year 1, end of year 1, to have $1 million in the bank. That's not including the gold nuggets. The gold nuggets are still in the ground. We did find over half of them in the previous episode, but we still don't have the $1 million, so that's still on the ground, but we will get that. We do have a plan for that. So we didn't make $1 million the first year only because the snow was just crazy, crazy bad. And as a result of that, we couldn't basically drive anything other than the Ponzi the last game day of the year. And so we did miss our mark by about, I think it was like 30-something thousand, I think 30, 40,000, something like that. Oops. And so, but that's okay. We made up for it the next the game day and everything. So I will shoot to try to make sure that we have a little over 2 million in the bank before we end this game year, if that is possible. And Farmer Klein says, I added the sawdust mod, made an additional 26,000 off sawdust in just 2 days of use. Used Pottinger to load them. Okay, wow, 26,000. Yeah, then you've got a little bit larger tipper. See, I was going to do the same thing. I was going to add the sawdust mod, but I actually forgot. But that's okay. I might do that. But then again, I got to come and collect all the sawdust. I'd need a larger tipper. Might need to consider a larger tipper anyway. But I don't know. So To be honest, if I were to add the sawdust mod, most likely I would probably use the phrase, and I don't know if that would be frowned upon. I don't know. I mean, obviously for this challenge, Old Guy Farmer, his restrictions are understandable, and we all know what those are. And I think that the next challenge he's talking about, basically preventing things like auto-loading trailers and things like that, and probably requiring like the no tabbing of vehicles mods and those kind of things. And of course, as we've talked, I would still probably be loading, the first day or two cut of logs if we had to do it manually. I'm just not very good at it, and I don't have the I guess I don't really have the drive to try to get any better with it. I don't mean that in a bad way, but I struggle with trying to get pallets off the pallet fork sometimes. I can usually stab the pallets pretty well. Sometimes my greatest difficulty is getting the pallet off the fork. And actually I ended up having to, I got frustrated. I think it was maybe in the first live stream I did this morning. Couldn't get the pallet forks out from underneath the wool pallet. Ended up having to reset the pallet forks. Which I think there's a mod that prevents you from resetting stuff that somebody was talking about on Old Guy Farmer's Discord channel. You're going to remove all the stumps? No, sir, I'm not. I removed all the stumps around the main farm, the areas that I went in to intentionally expand fields and stuff like that. I removed those stumps, obviously, for those reasons. But no, I'm not. I don't have a plan. I don't have, it's not a requirement of the challenge. And, all right, well, if you don't want to come with me, then I will just leave you. So no, I know it's not the environmental way of doing things, but this is just a virtual map. So anybody heard the news on the soil mod? I hope it's still a thing for Farm Sim 17. The last time I heard about the soil mod was that it was being worked on. It was also being worked on sort of in tandem with the Seasons mod team. So in other words, because I would think that obviously it would need to make sure that it didn't conflict with anything, that the mods weren't fighting each other and all that kind of stuff over things like crop growth and all that kind of stuff. So, but where it is, I really don't know. Yeah, the pine beetle that has been attacking Colorado and other places here in the west has gone after these trees, and so for fire mitigation reasons we're taking them out and not planning on putting them back. At least I'm not planning on putting them back. That'll be somebody else's job. I like this challenge. I like the way it causes me to have to think fast and kind of, I've got people watching, and, I've sort of realized that maybe, I didn't know as much about things as I as I thought I did, all that kind of stuff. Whether I will do another challenge is yet to be sort of seen. I guess it depends on what the challenge is. I think it depends on what the, what the guidelines, what the rules and all that kind of stuff are. And we'll just have to kind of see. Can I explain soil mod for those of us who never played Farm Sim 15? Sure. I'll give you my my short tour of it. So basically, the soil mod. So and I'll sort of, well, I'll talk a little bit about Farm Sim 15 and 17. But obviously, in Farm Sim 15, if you've played Farm Sim 15, you basically, by default, you basically did the same thing that we did in 17. You could plow, you could seed, you could fertilize and stuff like that. Obviously, running into a pole was also a feature of Farm Sim 15 as well. And so, of course, if you fertilize, your yield, your crop yields and everything would be better, obviously. Can't remember if plowing gave you a higher yield or not. It's been so long, and I only have a certain amount of space in my mind that I can store facts like that. But anyway, soil mod, what it did was it just sort of added extra layers of complexity in the sense that you would then need to make sure, of course it didn't factor in seasons or anything like that, but it would look at the weather forecast, and it would determine based on weather forecast and temperature the number of days that you would have above a certain degree, and I can't remember what that temperature degree was. Obviously would factor into moisture and the soil composition, whether the soil was acidic or not. You might have to treat the soil with lime. You could then sort of calculate, and there were some spreadsheets that got created which were pretty fantastic, which would kind of help you determine, based on the present soil condition before you planted your seeds, what type of fertilizer you would put down, whether it was in PK or NPK. And then, of course, based on expected moisture of the soil, you would determine whether you would actually put that fertilizer down as granular fertilizer, powder fertilizer, or liquid fertilizer. And then, of course, you would also have a factor of whether you would just maybe spray water on the field. You could actually just spray water, so you'd use like any of the in-game sprayers or any of the mods. The big self-propelled sprayers would work just fine. You could load those up with just water and spray. So if you had like really warm temperatures or whatever, that's what you would do. And then, of course, based on all of those variables, how well you would do would determine what your yields were. And it's quite interesting. I mean, it was something that obviously was like Seasons mod in the fact that it changed the game, and what you could just, you couldn't just go into a map and just say, okay, I'm going to plant wheat on this field, I'm going to plow it, I'm going to fertilize it and everything, and I'm going to get the 100% yield off of it. You actually really did have to kind of stop and think. And of course, the problem with all of this was that in Farm Sim 15, the weather, you could look at the weather, you could load up your game save, you could look at the weather would tell you that it's going to be 62 tomorrow, 47 for the low, and then 80 the next game day, etc. And then you save the game and come out of the game and then come back into the game. The weather forecast would be completely different, or could be completely different. In 17, obviously, our weather forecast is a little more predictable. It's a little more static, which is obviously a good thing, so that we can plan a little bit better. And so I think if soil mod were to come to Farm Sim 17 with the seasons mod and everything, I think obviously the seasons mod would be controlling the seasons, the ground temperatures, all those kind of things, maybe the moisture and stuff like that. And obviously the soil mod would then still kind of do what it did for Farm Sim 15, in the fact that it would then allow you to determine precisely what kind of fertilization you were going to do. Also, soil mod also allowed you to treat for pests, so it would allow you to apply pesticide, I believe. Pretty sure it did. Or maybe I just dreamed that up, but I think there was that was factored in. So I'm hopeful it comes. It sounds promising. It sounds like, or at least at one time, and this has been, now the information I was talking about, what I had heard, and I believe it was Reefy 1952, Meerman, that had talked about this, but there was actually a forum post over on FSUK, I believe, that also had some information where the Seasons guys were talking with the soil mod guy and working together, because they realized that, you know, obviously their mods were two mods that would really need to work together, because if they fought each other, obviously that would be a bad thing. All right, so let me talk a little bit about my giveaway, that I am going to be giving away 3 copies of the Giants Farm Sim 17 Platinum Expansion Pack that will be coming out in November, the mid part of November, around the 14th or 15th. And I'm going to be giving away 3 copies of that to sort of celebrate and reward those folks that have been watching this series, these live stream episodes. And so basically all the information that you need to know on how you enter and everything can be found below the video, and you can enter once per episode. There will be a total of 72 episodes, as I've already mentioned, I believe. 6 game days per season in 3 years, 3 game years. That equals 72 days or 72 episodes. And so each episode has a code word of the day, and I announce the code word verbally during the episode. And each of the 30 episodes that I've recorded up to this point each have a code word, and if you want to go out and watch those episodes, you can certainly do that and then enter the contest. I'll do the drawing on Sunday, November the 6th. Again, so that way you'll know whether or not you've won. And if you don't win, I'm sorry, then you can go out and buy the DLC if you want it. And let me just write down the code word so I don't forget it, because then if I forget what the code word is, then people start emailing me and I won't remember what it is. So now I'll tell you what the code word is here in just a few minutes. After we go after a couple more of these trees. Now actually I might be better off taking these trees out over here. I think there is we're near that road, that little logging road, so I think that's what we'll do, is we'll just move up this direction after we run into this tree, of course. Yeah, there's a road right over here. So this is all an area that there is no way we could log this in the wintertime if we have a winter similar to what we've had this past winter. So that's kind of why we're going to spend our summer months and our fall months doing whatever logging we do. We're going to do it up in these areas like this here. That was not a very tall tree, but oh well. I would have close to $80,000 worth of wood chips from that big pile. Farmer Klein, please stop telling me stuff like that. Ugh. All right, I will consider it, because obviously we're going to do a lot of wood cutting over the next year and a half, basically. So all is not lost, other than 80,000 liters. Okay, all right. I'm sorry, 80K. I was thinking $80,000. I was getting excited there, because you know I like my $100,000 increments there. Well, I can always install it and consider, you know, again, if I don't think it's gonna cause problems by using the Frase to pick up the wood chips and blow them into a tipper, then I may consider that. I mean, the Frase is actually not, it's not too unrealistic. Now granted, I think there is a version of the Frase that basically you can just pull up to a tree, and I think it will just cut the tree down and chop it up into wood chips. Okay, so obviously that is unrealistic. But as far as a wood chipper goes, what the Frase is kind of demonstrating, in the sense that, you know, there are, you see these companies that do like tree maintenance and stuff like that. They do have these giant wood chippers, and some of those things will take down pretty good sized trees. They'll also, I've seen something similar mounted onto a tractor for taking silage out of a silage bunker. I saw a video on that one time. So I do know these things do exist. Farmer Klein says he waited till he had a great demand and wood chips were on sale. Yeah, that's obviously how you want to do that. I'm sort of on standby for a great demand for wool, because we've got quite a few wool pallets already. Get the Pottinger from Farmer Klein, Grizz. That's easier than the Frase. Really? How can it be easier than the Frase? Don't you have to point the chute and everything? The Frase is, it kind of automatically points the chute. Of course, if you just got a tipper behind the tractor, of course I would have to get a different tractor, because those Ford tractors I don't think have they don't have front attachers, do they? Auto-magically pick up the wood chips. Yeah, well, I am trying to do things a little, I mean, yeah, auto-loading log trailer that's just because I can't load logs. Well, I can't really work a bucket worth a dime either to load wood chips, but if you're making $100,000 a day in logs, 13,000 doesn't make a big difference. Yeah, Mark DuPont is my financial advisor. Oh, where am I going? There I go again, looking at chat. Come on. The challenge is that even though these areas are easy to maneuver in the summertime compared to the wintertime, they do present challenges in the sense that because they are heavily forested, but that's what we want. We want lots of trees. Just trying to get this where it's going to be easier to handle. All right, let's see how that works. If we can. Hook it up to the 3-point and use the truck to pull the tipper. Yeah, but that's just extra level of confusion and frustration possibly. I don't know. I'll think about it. Yeah, if it would instantly pick them up, it would be worth it. But I think that might be just a bit cheating. I mean, I don't mind using the Fraze and running around and picking the piles up and blowing it into a tipper just simply because it. These are some nice tall trees. I like that. I like lots of timber in a tree. I like having to hit the X key multiple times per tree. This one's not so big. But it's okay, it was in the way. Yeah, it does. Makes it look realistic, I think. That was meant to go on the other side of the tree. But there's an easy way to resolve that problem. Let's just take the tree out. Push that anyway, like that. Just start another stack going off this direction here. I do wish wood chip piles would disappear like grass though. Yeah, that would be. Of course, what's odd is that they don't produce chips if you're cutting in the wintertime. That's a bit odd. Have you played Cattle and Crops yet? I have. I played all grand total of about of the game itself about 15 minutes. I've spent probably well over an hour and a half or so trying to get my Logitech G27 steering wheel and pedals, which could arguably be the most popular wheel and pedal set for any of these types of games. You know, the G27, the G29, stuff like that. I spent, like I said, like an hour and a half trying to mess with that. Every time I would close the game and go back in, my settings were gone. And I said, you know something, life is too short. It's time to go back to Farm Sim 17, and that's what I did. And so, as Mark says, it's really not a game yet. It's an experiment. There's a lot of truth to that. I still have hopes. I still hope that I didn't just throw whatever amount of money it was that I invested in the Kickstarter. I hope I didn't throw that away, but I may have. And lesson learned, I guess. But yeah, I was quite disappointed in it. I was so, you know, I've spent more hours than I probably care, and probably viewers care to hear me talk about Farm Sim, or I'm sorry, Cattle and Crops, talking about how excited I was about it, and hoping that even Cattle and Crops, if it was successful, it would even potentially cause Giants to sort of rethink their strategy a little bit, and maybe not rely so much on modders to put in all the fancy stuff that we want, to maybe have them do a little bit of this, take the ideas that the modding community have come up with and build some of those features in. I mean, I would think seasons would be something that Giants would put into the game, into Farm Sim 19. But we will just have to see. And who knows? I mean, it may still cause Giants to sort of rethink things. I would hope, because obviously, you know, they have. I think Giants has realized how popular Seasons is. Obviously, it won the modding contest for the right reasons, and I hope that that's, you know, enough to sort of tell them, to prove to them that this is something that the gaming community, the Farm Sim agricultural-based gaming community wants to see, and that they would consider putting that into 19, or perhaps not making 19 so different that it's going to be something that's going to take months and months and months for the modding team to convert the mod for 17 to 19. You know, there was enough significant differences between 15 and 17 that it did cause some problems for some of these modders to get their stuff into working into 17. I mean, Courseplay was fairly quick at getting converted, but it still had some problems early on. I think it's pretty solid now, but you know, it wasn't perfect initially. And I believe even Giants had the Courseplay team, or had one of the members of the Courseplay team actually go on site to Giants HQ and work with the mod, or with the Giants development team, to kind of help speed that process up, which I thought was a good thing, because at least that sort of told me as a as a gamer that enjoys Farm Sim, the Farm Sim franchise, that at least told me that Giants was serious enough about trying to get courseplay into the game as quickly as possible that they invested flying these guys out there, or flying one of the guys out there. Yeah, I'm not sure what the result's going to be either. And as far as the investment being a good investment, I mean, yeah, I see your point, Mark. But you know, at the end of the day, I still would like to have something to, you know, show for it. And will pretty much, and I'll say it here, and I mean it, I'm pretty serious about this, what I'm going to say, is that I will refuse to play the game with keyboard and mouse, you know, and that's pretty much what I've seen so far. That's really the only way to play the game. And, Wade says, don't understand why courseplay isn't in the game mod hub. Well, that may be, I mean, that may be the decision of the courseplay developers not wanting to put it in the mod hub. I mean, really, courseplay, you know, has been only officially sort of released through GitHub, I think. I think that's really been the only way that they've ever distributed courseplay, I think. Or maybe at one time it was available, maybe for 15 it's been available from via mod hosters, I think. But yeah, you would think that, especially with them bringing that team out there, you would think that it would be available. But I think courseplay changes. I mean, courseplay changes so frequently that maybe it would be constantly, they would have to constantly upload it. I don't know. But I like the concept of the mod hub, and I wish more modders would use it. I wish that people would get away from this whole uploaded.net stuff. And you know, the mod hub is easy. It's easy to get mods from them. It's I think they're a little safer. It's kind of like the Steam Workshop with ATS and ETS2. I really try to get the majority of my mods that I use for ETS2 and ATS. I try to get those out of the Steam Workshop just because it's super easy to download them in the game. And actually, what I like about the Steam Workshop is with ATS and ETS2 is I can go out and I can view a mod on the website, for example. I might be at work eating my lunch and not having anything better to do, and I go out and peruse through the Steam Workshop for ATS and ETS2, and I see a mod in there that I like. I can just basically select that mod and say that I want to install it on ATS or ETS2, and the next time that I start up those games, because they're linked to Steam, it'll automatically install those mods, and then I just go into the mod workshop and add those, and Bob's your uncle. So it's done, easy peasy lemon squeezy. And I like easy when it comes to that kind of stuff. And of course they will also they'll also auto update if there's an update that comes out for them. I mean, because some of the mod sites for ATS and ETS2 are just as gnarly as some of the mod sites that FarmSim mods are uploaded to. I mean, all the pop-up ads and questionable kind of content and stuff like that. But but even the mods in the beta section of Mod Hub still get destroyed because they aren't perfect. Yeah. Alright. I tell you, if the Ponzi had a blade on the front of it, this would be like an all-in-one just logging machine. Alright, let's take this tree out and let's haul some timber for a little while until it gets too dark to see. What console is this? This isn't a console. This is a home-built PC. This is Farm Sim 17 for PC. And why is everyone playing PC? Well, I don't know how to answer that question for you. I'm not necessarily one of those type of guys that believes that PC is master race and all that kind of stuff like some YouTubers talk about. But for some games, especially games that are sort of heavy on the mod side, then obviously PC is going to be the best thing for you. Now, I also believe, and this is just my own beliefs, but I think that, you know, performance and everything, all that kind of stuff is better. Now, there's people that can argue that point, and, you know, I've tried to see their point. I've tried to understand where they're sort of coming from with regards to that. But the games that I like to play are all PC-based games. Yeah? Okay. All right, so let's, sorry about that. I had to do something really quick. All right, let's reload these and restack these. And we'll haul this off to the mill. Hi, Jesse. Sorry we don't do shout-outs. I'll say hi to you if I see you. And I think I've already acknowledged you once, so that's about the best there. But no need to do shout-outs. I mean, there's no advantage to you or to me to give you a shout-out. Yep, and Farmer Klein is right. It is 100% on the console makers that limit that mod restrictions and all that kind of stuff. We're bigger than he is. As long as we don't flip it, I don't mind pulling out in front of trucks and stuff. Alright, untie this big load and sell it. AW Rogue Gaming, gameplay and vlogging. Well, hello to you. Thanks for saying hi. Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate that. And I think that there are probably some games that maybe are played best on console. You know, I don't want to pretend that that's not a possibility, but just the type of games that I enjoy playing, pretty much all PC based. You know, all of, and of course, I mean, my gaming, my PC gaming mainly goes back to Flight Sim, and of course, Flight Sim has never been available for console, and most likely will never be available for console because it's too mod and add-on. We don't really call them mods in the Flight Sim world, but the add-ons and everything are just way too complex for to be considered for console. And so I think maybe some of the, you know, first-person shooter type stuff, maybe that's fine for console gaming. I really don't even know about that. Maybe those are even too mod heavy. But you know, I think it was a big step forward for console players for Farm Sim to basically get the mods that they have now. I think that was a really big step and a step forward. So maybe, you know, maybe Sony and Microsoft will relax their stance on the subject of mods, but I don't know. And most likely they won't relax their stance on mods that would conflict with um, um, brand stuff like John Deere and stuff like that, because that just intellectual property, that just becomes a, you know, a nightmare. Giants can kind of turn their head to that kind of stuff because really the onus and everything is on the people that are creating those mods, and as long as money isn't changing hands, well, they're sort of in the clear. But even then, really, I mean, if John Deere or any of these other manufacturers that are seeing their mods and stuff like in Mod Hoster and sites like that, if they wanted to, they could send out cease and desist orders for those websites to take that stuff down if they wanted to. We've seen that from time to time in the flight sim world, where real world airlines go after these virtual airlines that set up, you know, websites and stuff that you know, talk about their American Virtual Airlines or British Virtual Airways or whatever, and we've seen, you know, we've seen the legal side of things come out, and these people take their websites down. FedEx is one that it's almost impossible to set up a virtual FedEx cargo airline, because FedEx, if they find out about you, they will send you a notice to take your stuff offline. Oh, I forgot to slow our trains down. Oh well, we're not crossing any tracks right now and don't have any plans to. We're gonna play for just a few more minutes and then maybe haul one more load. And my wife just came downstairs a few minutes ago and she needs me to go to the store, so I'm gonna end the stream here. In a few minutes, we'll haul one more load. My first gaming experience was playing Pitfall on the Atari 2600. Well, my first video gaming experience was actually Pong back in the 70s on a black and white TV. That was my first gaming experience, and then I graduated to the Atari 2600 from Pong, and then after, and sort of in addition to the Atari 2600, I also had a Commodore 64, and played Flight Sim. That's what got me hooked into Flight Sim, was on the Commodore 64, and that was cool. I tell you what, let's not haul this load to the mill. Let's go ahead and go back to the main farm, and then we'll do our cleanup after our sheep, collect our eggs, and then tomorrow we can haul those logs from the top area there and then continue logging up in that zone. And then from the Commodore 64, I got into the PC side of things in the early 90s, and then never looked back. And my wife, we bought a Wii a few years ago. We bought it for exercise purposes mainly. She wanted to use some of the exercise stuff, the step and whatever. And so there goes OJ again. And that was, but I never bought any games for it. We had the exercise step thing that came with the Wii, and we had we did the in-game stuff like bowling, and that was kind of cool with the controllers and stuff like that. But never bought any games for it. Alright, we'll park this under here for now, for no other reason other than the fact that it's sort of out of the way. And we will go and get our telehandler, clean up after the sheep, collect the eggs, and I need to tell you what the word of the day is. The word of the day for today is all-terrain. So we've been doing a little bit of all-terrain work with our Ponzi Scorpion King, and that is the word of today, all-terrain. When am I doing another stream? I am probably not going to do another stream until tomorrow evening. This is my third stream for today, and most likely is my last one. I'm not going to stream tonight, and I will probably get back to my normal streaming schedule of evenings after around 7:30 or so Mountain Time. And that will be my next stream. Hello, Dakota Ellis. Welcome to the stream. Thanks for stopping by. I have 123 sheep. We started this season with just 100. Started this year, the second game year, so we've had 23 new sheep born. That's cool. And we'll park our telehandler so we know where it is. I try to do things pretty much the same each and every time. That way I know where to find things, because otherwise you can spend 5 or 10 minutes looking for something and half a day goes by. And here we go, we get our eggs. So the word of the day again is all-terrain, as in all-terrain vehicle, but it's just all-terrain as the word. And we'll get out here in the middle of the road here, and it's 10 o'clock. We've fulfilled our day. We'll hit save game. And then we'll do Alt-N to skip night. And Dakota Ellis, no, you can't be a moderator. I don't know you. I only have friends that serve as moderators. All right, well, thank you all so much for watching, folks. I really do appreciate it. Another day, another couple of dollars. Not as much as we could have made, but tomorrow we'll hit logging quite hard and heavy and try to get up there to our $100,000 average. And thank you all so much for watching, and please tune in for another episode when I go live again or catch one of my archived live streams. Take care now. Speak to you soon. Bye-bye.